playing as the Chinese, playing as the color orange on the map Baltic, spawning in the east, playing as the English and the color yellow. It is Numudan, both players obviously going for their docks, as they should. But Neri, I want you to shed some light on why these two civs are as good on a map like this.
Before that, though, I want to say prediction is up, so bet your channel points.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
sorry, I believe you fuck off. First, other things I want to cover, coRe has the advantage because the deep water is considerably closer than Numudan's. But why these civs are good? Well, China is good because you get more wood because you're imperial officials, and your docks work faster, 20% if I recall correctly. And English is good because you start with 50 extra wood, and you have an upgrade that increases the range of your military ships by 1, which is actually quite massive. But range is absolutely massive because it gives you enough distance to snipe incendiary ships quite confidently and catch retreating ships. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head on all of it. I want to direct your attention to that English technology. Admiralty is one of those, increasing the range. It is pretty expensive, but man, I mean, as much as you say it's worth it, it is definitely worth it. One of the particularly cool technologies for China, we don't necessarily see these hybrid games go into Imperial Age, but if we did have the ability to, Chinese get the Imperial technology thunderclap bombs with warships firing a nest of bees attack. Probably not going to see it this game, but just because of the name of the technology, I did want to point it in your direction.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I've seen those things. So if you think the stone wall great house is OP, imagine a strong wall great house that moves. That's basically that technology.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty insane.
It's pretty insane.
Benny B does point out something good as part of the English, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this already, but English does have a little bit of discount on getting their ships. 10% discount. So the fishing boats, instead of 75 wood, getting 67. And even though it is just a little bit of wood, for how many ships you make throughout the course of the game, could provide a difference. It could mean that you just have more ships than your opponent. So IO coming in for coRe again, getting those resources, pulling 2 wood out of absolutely thin air, and going to be able to get that economy going. So English have a little bit of a discount, Chinese a little bit of a better wood economy. So let's see what actually translates better on water. And you got to remember, Numudan in this series, he is facing match point by coRe. This is put up or shut up time.
Why is Numudan ahead on fishing ships? What did you do, coRe? Why? Yeah, they should be on equal fishing ship, but for some reason Numudan has 1 extra, even though coRe's docks work faster. So for terms of purposes, the coRe should be ahead, and they're equal right now. It's insane. Well, whatever. Something happened. We missed that. Doesn't matter. That Imperial official is doing his thing, supervising the wood. Now we see the council hall. Numudan going with a very, very fast age up. I wonder, and coRe is going for the second dock, so a delayed age up in exchange for having more ships on the water compared to Numudan, who's going to have a very, very quick age up, even though thanks to the Chinese build speed, they might be somewhat equal.
Yeah, only with 4 villagers on it is going to help him out a little bit on that Imperial Academy, excuse me. And now that Numudan might get first dibs at Feudal Age, as far as the actual timings, probably not going to matter as much. I think it's more so getting that second dock up and making sure you do have the economy to pump ships out of both of those docks, because that second dock, it doesn't do anything if it's just sitting there looking pretty.
Yep. It's interesting. Let's see. So, the first thing both of these players should do is get double products. It's really, really important. It's the most important upgrade you can get in water battles. and neither of them is good. No, there we go. Numudan gets it instantly. coRe is lacking in that regard. He definitely has the resources for it, so he should be getting it. There we go. But he has, because he's China and he's supervising the mill, even though he forgot and started it later, he's gonna get it before Numudan. Because balance.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Core, in terms of, I want to point to your attention, I know that a lot of people might not necessarily enjoy playing hybrid maps, but to be a well-rounded player, and if you're interested in doing something like Lowy the Legend someday, hybrid maps are a must. So I'm going to be hovering over just a little bit so you guys can see how many villagers we have on the particular 4 resources that we have, just to make sure you guys can play like coRe and Numudan themselves. Now, in terms of naval composition, we have Numudan with a Hulk and a galley, coRe with a couple of war junks going strictly rock on this one, while Numudan adding that galley just to make sure no demo ships pop up.
I mean, if you have enough rocks, you can start killing papers. You just like,
Yeah,
I think you need 5 sprinkle ships to kill a singular ship in Feudal, so it's pretty good. Now we see coRe trying to attack, but it's not a good idea because there's like a demolition ship right there. He might be no. coRe he engages with the sails and retreats. This is going to get really crazy, really fast.
yeah, it absolutely is. And this is one of the things now that this game has gone into the warship area in Feudal Age. We got to talk about how micro intensive this actually is. We have junks of all shapes and sizes, explosive, war, and regular, going up against Numudan's hulks and galleys and demolition ships. And when you're on water while also playing on land, you get that little bit of playing like you're playing 2 games at once, because you got to be focused on what's on water, you got to be focused on what you're doing on land, making sure you have the resources for the water. But the first naval battle coming up right next to those English docks, you can see the pluses getting that little bit of extra health. Demo ship from England getting
Ooh,
a
amazing.
massive hit. War junks turning into shipwrecks before our very eyes. And now the Hulk count to war junk count 4-3 in terms of Numudan. So Numudan able to easily defend his counterpart.
Yeah, absolutely. Very huge connection there that really bought me an extra time because he is only 2 docks, the third about to finish, while coRe is already on 3 docks and he's worked faster. So Numudan is going to be behind on ships for the majority of this game, and he needs to rely on good engagements in order to win against China.
Absolutely. And I think with that first engagement, Numudan did a good job of doing that. It looks like for coRe, he still is continuing to try to take, he's trying to muster up a decent enough fleet and trying to push his way towards the English. But I don't know how much experience you have on hybrid maps, Neri, but it seems like in terms of doing that correctly or doing that efficiently, it seems like you need to be more of a counterattack kind of thing. If you're able to take a fight beneath your own docks to get that little bit of heal and you're able to wipe out your opponent, it makes it very simple to just go in and just wreck their fishing economy.
Yeah, whenever you're fighting on your side of the map, you have to be very careful because of your fishing ships are so exposed. Like, they need to move forward to enable to fish. So if you take a fight under your docks, you're exposing your entire economy. Now we see an engagement coming through. Considerably more sprinkle ships for coRe than for Numudan. But Numudan does have explosive in there, so coRe can't just YOLO in. He has to be careful still.
Yeah, I think coRe does have an explosive junk. There it is, just sitting there flaming, waiting for some kind of hulks to come in and get some of that hit. Now, as far as hybrid maps go, now that we've reached a little bit of, this feels like a little bit of a standoff. You know, there's a no man's zone in the middle of the Baltic, and then we have both sides, obviously. When does it become imperative to get to Castle Age? At what point in the game are you deciding to go to Castle Age? Is it when you won Naval already? Or is it kind of in the middle of this to break this ceasefire?
You never go to castle unless you win water or
Yeah.
lose water.
Okay,
Because
good.
the moment
That
you
was a
go to
softball. I'm
castle,
glad.
well, the moment you go to castle, you have so many more ships than your opponent that they can just crush you. They pretty much just A move and crush you because of the ship difference. Like now we see Numudan is slowly kiting away. He needs to be careful about those demo ships. He has one galley there that's going to get the oh my god, that got so many efficient ships. Numudan is in a war of hurt, so he needs to take a decisive battle and win this. But he's losing his demo ships too. He
Yeah, those
just lost
demo
one.
ships trying to get some contact over there on the south side for Numudan coming up just short. You did hit the nail on the head for the ships. Look at this explosive junk. Going to get a hit on some of those hulks. A lot of weakened hulks here. Demo ship for Numudan. Going to get some good contact. There are so many war junks that are essentially one tap and do get one tap. Now war junk count for both players 11 to 8 in favor of coRe, but coRe doesn't have all of them on the front line. They're starting to gather in terms of reinforcements. Numudan having the ability to fight under his dock, having the ability to get that little bit of healing, which is going to help him out in this battle, and actually proving to work out very well. Now Numudan does have a demolition ship that will come out better and quicker than coRe's. His explosive drones have to travel basically the length of the Baltic. I'd say Numudan did a good job of holding, but it did cost him about 4 fishing ships in order to do that. Let's see if he can really take a good hit on this demo ship. Another war junk coming down. It looks like Hulk to war junk count 8 to 6 in favor of Numudan, and it's just him just taking these favorable trades over and over again. He has galleys in the back just to make sure explosive junks don't rain hell on his fleet, and as long as he's able to do that, he's going to be able to successfully take some of these battles. But explosive junk does get one Hulk. Looks like coRe did a good job of getting rid of some of those demolition ships from Numudan, but does have to back up now. Military count 40 to 30 in favor of Numudan, and this is a lot of back and forth that we're going to see throughout Feudal Age, Yuri.
Yeah, the problem is Numudan lost his entire fishing because he had to grab like half of his wood villagers and put them into shape because he has no food economy on water right now. So he either needs to put on the full pressure to coRe, which is exactly what he's doing. He's just going full sprinkles and demos to be as food efficient as he can, and try to kill him right now, because otherwise he's just going to die slowly unless he starts adding fishing ships. But he can't because now he's under course docks, so he needs to keep attacking. That's his only choice right now. Just YOLO.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's starting to YOLO pretty well. I mean, a lot of fishing boats are ending up going down. coRe only has about 4 war junks to Numudan's 6 hulks, so even with that reinforcement, he's doing a good job trying to take down some of the fishing eco. However, he still has a decent amount of them. Where I'm highlighting, I'm seeing 6, I'm seeing 8, 9, and a 10th for coRe. Numudan does not have that. It shows in the economic count 60 to 42, 59 to 42 in favor of coRe. So because of that, and because of that win, and having that economic count for coRe, you could probably just add more docks, really take it to him, huh?
Yep. Numudan is completely all in at this point, so he's just producing nothing but a demolition ship, because that's the only thing he can. He's starting finally to add a couple of fishing ships, but this is too late. Like, you are so far behind in economy already. Like, look at this. coRe has finished fishing 3 of his deep water fish right in front of his base, and Numudan hasn't done that with a single one. He's like 3,000 foot behind right now. That's an insane amount.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of galleys are going to be in the back for Numudan, trying to prevent any kind of demo ship from happening. Both of them extremely weak, though, 54 and 86 health, respectively. coRe is kind of on the back end right now, on his back foot, just because Numudan is YOLOing and continuing to all in, and we talk about why it's so important to manage water, as we see Springles just taking little shots at each other back and forth. Just like you mentioned, these villagers back here, for the English player, for Numudan, having to get those sheep, part of the reason why water is so good at what it does is not only the fact that you can get your fishing boats and it helps your food economy, but it also means your villagers on land don't have to get food. You're able to get that wood, you're able to get that gold, and you're able to protect your fishing ships. And that's why coRe, being able to continuously pump out of these docks with increased speed, and how much wood he has in the bank, he has 1,600 wood he could spend whenever he wants.
Yeah, he needs to put a lot more villagers on gold than just produce demo ships at this point, because Numudan is basically just a Hulk. He has like 2 archer ships that he can just right click with his Hulks while the demos just try to run into the enemy Springles. And Numudan, he's doing a good job of slowly adding fishing. He's back to 5. It's not great, but it's better because the sheep is basically run out. So he really needs to have fishing back again, or he will have to shift into berries. And that's probably the worst thing you could do in a water map, go into berries.
Oh my god, yeah, that would be such a huge issue. Especially just because of the gathering rate as compared to deep water fish. Oh my god, that would be abysmal. Now, coRe trying to get a semblance of some sort of army composition right now as demo ships keep getting sniped as explosive junks, and demo ships for Numudan actually throughout the duration of these little skirmishes that we've had have been making good contact, and we're seeing that in the actual amount of ships that each player has. Right now it's 11-6, so coRe, he's doing okay on the fishing front, but you're right. I mean, for every minute this continues on coRe's side of the Baltic, Numudan has the ability to keep going up, and I know that score is a little bit glitched in the AoE 4 department, but Numudan is ahead.
No, Numudan is absolutely ahead at this point. He's been doing an absolutely stellar job at micro and water. He lost one of his archer ship and immediately replaced it, and he's just producing nothing but Springer ship because he knows he has the upper hand, so he can just spam Springer ship at this point. And Springer ships, when you have this amount, you can even start sieging down the docks, because they do deal quite a bit of damage to buildings, like 45, 46. So you will eventually kill a dock if you have enough. And now coRe, like we said earlier, he completely depleted his fishing on the front, so now he needs to move on to the more exposed fish, and that's going to be really, really scary, because when the fishing ships go out, you can just start picking them off with archer or spindles. And coRe is giving up on water. Yeah, he completely gave up on water. He's not producing anything right now. What is he doing? He's adding a second town center, and he is then moving all his villagers to the food, so he is trying to go to castle after this. He's like, okay, I absolutely lost water, I cannot come back from this. My best option is go castle and try to do something. Here comes the Barbican of the Sun to add a little bit more defense and get him the Song Dynasty. But now Numudan is in an excellent position. He is starting to add a lot of fishing ships. This is an insane amount of fishing ships. He's gonna have like 20 fishing ships very, very quickly. And now he's starting to add barracks, more houses, and he should also start looking to move into castle, because his food economy is about to skyrocket. He really needs to put like 12 villagers on gold, and there he is. He's moving another 4, like actually 12. That's amazing. And he's about to get wheelbarrow after this. So yep, Numudan doing exactly what he needs to. What you do after you win water, you start preparing to attack, because the amount of units you can produce compared to your opponent is insane. Now coRe, I don't know about this coRe. coRe, you're the one behind this situation. You are the one who needs to put defensive walls. This is an offensive wall. You don't want this.
No, I love it. I just love how he's trying to send it. I mean, when you lost water, I feel like that, obviously you're on the back foot for essentially the entirety of the rest of the game. So, on the back end, he's trying to make sure that his opponent is actually raidable. If he's able to take down a lot of villagers over here, on the eastern side for Numudan, he will be able to get an upper hand, at least on land, and could try to snowball. So I do like the idea. Numudan, though, on the flip side, he went to Castle Age really early. Earlier than I thought, because I thought it would take a little bit of time for those fishing boats to actually get the 1200 food that they need. But he does end up getting Castle Age. coRe is going to start making Lancers. Numudan is going to start making Men-at-Arms. And with a fishing economy, Men-at-Arms, you can print those things endlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. He can print them endlessly. I do not agree with the King's Palace, by the way. I think this should be like a white tower because you know that coRe is in a desperate position and he's trying to either boom or kill you. So what do? You take away the kill you option, but just putting a white tower in the middle of your base. And then because you're water, you are moving at the same time that you can try to kill him, and you're fine in that regard. So I don't agree with coRe's decision with Numudan's decision of going King's Palace. Now we did see coRe trying to put down 3 forward circles, but as soon as he saw Numudan on castle, he's like, okay, no, this is not going to work. And that's the correct decision of canceling the 2 next table and only producing with the 1. Probably just trying to get some harassment going. That Lancer is in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what he's doing, but he's there.
Now, my question for you, Neri, right now, as this game's actually started matriculating to Castle Age, for Numudan, is it a beneficial thing now that you've won water? Is it beneficial to trade on water?
Yes, absolutely. But trading on this map, specifically on Baltic, is really difficult because the trade post is always under the direct main of your opponent. So you can see like there's a town center and an outpost like right next to that thing. So nothing is really stopping coRe from putting down a keep or upgrading a couple more outposts and putting a placement on it. So you can't really trade without absolutely pushing your opponent out of their base. And if you're pushing them out of the base, you probably won that game.
Okay, I can understand that. Definitely. Now, military count for each of these players. coRe has a nice cheeky Springald. Gonna try to push some of those hulks from Numudan at least out of his face. Just having the ability to do that with a Springald. Gonna make sure he can get at least some of this food economy. He's resorting to some of these Gaia food resources. He's on this hunt, which is just about to run out. He's on a berry patch, which is about to run out. And in terms of economic units, the 3 town centers did help. But for the amount that he actually spent to do it, I get that was the best case of, or the best opportunity of a bad situation. But you can see just by coRe trying to rebuild with 3 town centers how good fishing is.
Yeah, look at that, 68 army supply. I know a lot of those are combat ships. That's like 40 supply on combat ships or so. But that's still like 30 ground units, while coRe has 6. And those 6 are actually just 2 Springolds.
Yeah, it's not doing much for you, for sure. Definitely in that battle. But the Chinese player coRe adding some crossbowmen into the mix as well, which makes sense. I mean, if you're playing against English, you're going to expect some men-at-arms. You're going to expect some armored units, which we are going to see. And Numudan's starting to press the initiative on land after he won on water. He's trying to go for that killing blow, but if he does, on the south side, he's going to run into a keep.
He's adding the siege workshop to work on that. He already saw that keep shut down one of his knights. And coRe is starting to add crossbows, which are amazing defensive units, but he's still not in the greatest position. Numudan is starting to find an angle of attack. He will manage to find one by adding this gate all the way on the south, and he's going to run his army right into coRe's economy and completely bypassing that keep, which, even though it's in a great position, you can't cover this entire area with just that one keep. And we see the trebuchet starting to move forward to take it down.
Yep, good raid on some of these villagers' work kills going up by the second. That trebuchet just getting in behind those walls, so going to make it pretty easy for that trebuchet to just try to snipe down that keep to the best of its ability. That attack sign This is one of those things that I understand these guys are pro players and they have an idea of, the attack symbols and all that kind of stuff, but hearing that over and over again might make him susceptible to raids in the future. Nest of bees, not of clock tower variety, just a normal beehive. Going to be trying to take down some of this ranged mass from Numudan. Not going to be able to have the range for it. The crossbowmen are going to be able to pick off the men-at-arms. And as of right now, a little bit of a ceasefire. Numudan got a retreat just a little bit. And I wasn't going to comment on the military score, but you got to understand here for military score, we got a lot of hulks on the Baltic not really doing much.
Indeed. Something I love to see from Numudan is to not go barracks and just put a bunch of stables and just produce horsemen. Because with water economy, you can produce infinite horsemen. Also saw a very big mistake he's made so far is not getting drift nets. That technology is absolutely insane. He got the level 1, but the level 2 is even better. It increases the gathering rate, the carry capacity, and the movement speed. It's like you get everything on your fishing ships.
Yeah, I mean, it's like wheelbarrow on steroids, right?
Yeah.
But Numudan, instead of going for the option of drift nets, which I agree is a good idea, instead of going for the option that I see in chat, going for some trade, I think he's going for more of a map control issue, adding stone walls over here on the west side. Going to be able to take this north sacred site now that he has map control on land, and I think he's going to start putting coRe on a clock.
Yeah, this is a very good play as well. Like, you have complete map control and you have water. coRe is trying to rebuild on water. Numudan needs to catch this and destroy those docks. Just make a bunch of demo ships and just suicide into those docks, because these docks can create a world of pain for him, because all his food economy is on water.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if coRe is able to try to sneak back, but Numudan does see it, going to be able to get this dock, trying to get some of those villagers, but does get the dock as well. But you got to think for coRe, now that he has Imperial Age with the Spirit Way, he does have a very special ship available to him, and that is the Baochuan. Now, if any of you played Season 0, that I like to call, or early Season 1 of Age of Empires 4, you will remember the Baochuan. And you will remember that as soon as that thing hits the battlefield, the game ends. Season 4, not that much of a difference, but it is quite the powerful ship, and those Baochuans are actually going to help this northern side for the Sacred Site if Numudan decides to put him on a clock, and he has now Sacred Victory at about 9.5 minutes. So if those Baochuan are able to set up a post over here on the north, it can make it so that Sacred Site ends up not getting continued to be captured, I should say, over the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Those Baochuans are very, very powerful, but they do die quite fast to the motion traps. Now we see the Berkshire Pirates. Numudan saw the Baochuans. It's like, you know what? Baochuans are good, but how about I shoot you from so far away that the Baochuans don't even know that.
Well, you know what? That galley probably saw 3 of those Baochuans, and he's like, fuck this. And just moved over, and then it ended up getting taken down. But the Berkshire Palace over on the south side, I'm not sure if you commented on this or not, but this on the south side, this Berkshire Palace has quite the range on it. And if he does have the ability to actually get it up, and that's what she said, but if he is able to get this Berkshire Palace up and actually keep it alive, he will be able to snipe those Baochuans very well. The only issue is on this north side, like we continue to talk about with the Sacred Site, there isn't any keep, there isn't anything that's really going to keep this northern Sacred Site in English control.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have a bunch of villagers close by, so he can just pop down, upkeep. He should. There we go. And he's still putting coRe on a clock. coRe needs to move out. His economy is almost completely set up, but he's almost out of wood. Like, he has these 2 tiny wood patches left, and after that he is in a world of trouble, because on the north side there are stone walls and there's going to be a keep. He won't be able to get through there. On the south side he has a Berkshire, a keep, and soon more stone walls to deal with, and that's where the bulk of the English army is going to be.
Yep.
He is managing to cause quite a lot of economy damage with his bow swans, but now there are Carracks for the English, and those Carracks have one extra range, so they're going to win against the bow swans in the short term, unless Core decides to get the Imperial upgrade, but it's too expensive for him right now. He doesn't have the resources.
Yeah, no, he does not have the resources at all. And I think now, ooh, look at these for Numudan. We do have some Carracks hitting the battlefield as well. 5 in nature. Let's see how much damage they're able to do against Doc. And I know these Carracks are more so building specialists, and I guess the Bouchwan kind of are too. But these Docs quickly disintegrate. Because
I want
oh my God.
to take your attention to the north side. There is a sneaky transport ship. That transport ship is going to get in time before the keep goes out,
Oh
or
God.
maybe just as the keep goes out. This is going to be so close. He sees the keep and he's like, nope.
Yep, not gonna happen this time, and I think he's gonna dock a little bit more to the. There you go. Oh, because there were only
Oh my
villagers
God.
before.
He says
Oh.
it with the Carracks and the Knights, and I don't know what these villagers are going to do. Just build a couple of outposts, okay? I don't know what the plan for that is, but let's see. No, here are the villagers going for those others, and those are English villagers, so they have bows, so they
Yep.
should win.
And yep, they pull them out just in due time. Now, I understand that the Chinese can build their outposts a little bit quicker, and they do get one up. Probably the second one will end up going up as well. But look at what Numudan does. He just puts stone walls all around this area, just making sure, because that's, I mean, for
He's
Numudan,
like, I'm not
that's,
dealing with this.
yeah,
It's
that's his
good.
win condition right now. The interesting thing here during this game is even though Numudan got his map control, and he is putting core on a clock right now, as far as core economically, he's really not that far behind. I mean, he's up in economic count, and yeah, he doesn't have water, yeah, he doesn't have fish, but he's still getting that late game economy.
He doesn't have gold. That's the problem.
Well,
He
yeah,
has
I mean,
some.
that's kind of an issue.
Yeah,
Um,
he has this big gold, and he is going to back him that really, really fast. He's producing fire lancers, which are fairly cheap on gold. But after that gold is gone, he's in big trouble, and the Berkshire can see that gold, so he's gonna lose villagers if he tries to stay there.
yeah, look at this. Look at this Berkshire palette. It's literally like it's shooting arrows into Narnia. Someone's gonna nerf that range. But as chat is noticing up on the top part of the screen, it's that he's got some siege workshops somewhere, and I'm going to try to find them all over the map, excuse me, as I'm going all around. Only one siege workshop, actually. And he has 7 rams in queue. If any of you are sub to Rising Empires, I highly suggest you spam your ram emotes, because core is going to try to take Numudan to Ram Ranch and get this sacred site. The issue is, by the time the ram actually gets there, I think the game ends.
Yep. On the north side, we saw Core adding a bunch of barracks, but Numudan knew there were villagers here and was scouting with his knights. So the knights finally find the villagers, but the barracks are producing palace guards now. So this is going to be a problem for Numudan in the short term, but it's not too big because there's really nothing on the land for Numudan. Like all his economy is very secure on water, and then like everything else is near the front, very very safe under his army, so he's fine. Now we see the rams, like you mentioned, slowly making their migration all the way to the north, but a Carrack sees this and he's getting rid of that.
Oh no, Core, come on, dude. Oh no. It's still going. I don't know why this is tickling me so, but the core tried so hard to get this army all the way up. It's a slow army, you know, like he's really trying to get it up there, and there's a Carrack just taking hits on
Yep.
all of that. And core, just like you said about gold, this is the last gold mine that he has. So if he's unable to take down these stone walls and unable to successfully decap the sacred site, it's going to be quite the issue for
Yep.
him. Rams first get contact on that stone wall. 2 minutes and 50 seconds until sacred site victory approaches. One of the nice things for Numudan is with that sacred site, It's not necessarily getting to the sacred site, which he will be able to do. It's about having enough units to stay there, and there is one
And
big
look at
fat
that.
Carrack.
Look at this fleet just coming here. It's like, okay, you wanna take down my sacred site? How about no? Look at
Yep,
it.
we've got
Everything died.
it's a massacre. I mean, this is the first instance of a modern day bombing that we're seeing in this area. Fire lancers, crossbowmen, you can heal with the spirit way all you want. It doesn't matter. They're gonna end up going down. Sacred site does not get decapped. Sacred site victory approaching in 2 minutes. coRe spent a lot of time trying to make that army, and it literally gets blown to smithereens.
Yeah, the Carracks. These warships are so incredibly powerful once you get them. If they can shoot, they just demolish everything on land. You need Springles or Culverins to deal with them. They're so incredibly powerful. You cannot fight them from land to sea. It's just so good. On the other side, we see a desperation move by coRe, just moving a bunch of Palace Guards. I'm assuming he's directing them straight for the Sacred Side, but that's not gonna work. There's a Berkshire gonna keep that right there.
Yeah, or it just goes right in front of a wood line trying to find some area to do it. North side is protected. Sacred site victory approaching in 1 minute and 15 seconds. And guys, I feel like this 1 minute 15 seconds is essentially a formality. coRe with some fire lances over here on the west side, trying to get this palisade wall down, and does get it down. Trying to take the Berkshire Palace down with the help of a Balchuan over here on the south side. Now you got to remember, these Carracks, they got to get all the way down south to make a substantial impact, and there's Balchuans there. There's actually the ships from coRe, which will cause those Carracks to have, they do have the Nest of Bees upgrade, as you can see
Look at
those
that.
fireworks.
Did
Look
you
at,
see that? That's insane. Numudan brought a transport ship with a bunch of Springles, just sniping the Marshals with those Springles. That's insane. I've never seen that. That's a first. That's insane. And now here comes the Carracks, and they will deal with the Bounce ones. They will give up their lives for that, but they will eventually deal with them. And there's just a bunch of men at arms just standing down the sacred site, ensuring that doesn't get decapped. The timer is finally ticking back, but yeah, and coRe just lost everything. He doesn't have anything to deal with this. The north sacred side is completely secure. The southern one just got secured too. Like, you're not killing all these men at arms sitting on the sacred side while they're being guarded by Carracks.
no.
And coRe realizes and GG's out. That was a really, really entertaining game.
I love the effort by coRe. I mean, he did lose water, yes. He thought he was down, but he was not out. He went 3 TC Song, and as you can see here from the timeline, I'm going to pull up the villager count. And as you can see here with 3 TC Song, you can see this graph. Look at how much villagers he actually had because of Song. He got to his 140. He got to his end economy just purely on villagers, but Numudan just having that water, having those Carracks. I've never seen an actual military get shredded by Carrack cannons. And I'm so glad that coRe, after he did lose water, that he stuck it out and wanted to play this game, because we got a hell of enjoyment out of this. And I think I can speak for everyone in chat to agree also. Lots of GG's into the chat. Military count obviously in favor of Numudan at the end of the game. coRe trying to get there, trying to ram his way there, but not quite finding the hole. That's what she said. We got follows coming in from you guys and a couple subs in